Hello everyone, Jacquie Edwards here. Welcome to our live at lunchtime for this week. This week I'm going to be talking about how to kind of test your tenant demand using Spareroom. So this is specifically for HMOs. Now, Spareroom is one of basically the first place that I went to when I was trying to research my area. And when I've looked at any other areas, this is my go-to place. So this is where you should look as kind of a first glance to see, are there enough tenants in your area to do HMOs? So if you added a new HMO, again, that's gonna be like 5, 6 bedrooms, maybe more. Is there enough tenants there to kind of fill the room quickly? Now, there are quite a few things to think about when you're doing this. This is not an exact science. This is just kind of giving you an idea of, will it work or maybe it won't? What do I need to think about when I'm going to be filling these rooms? Now, most cities work for HMOs, for rent to rent. Now, if you've got, employment, if you've got, good public transport, you're likely to be in a decent area for an HMO. But you might be in an area that's starting to get maybe a little bit oversaturated with HMOs. And we've talked about that in previous videos. So if you are in an area that you feel might be a bit oversaturated, there still is opportunity available there. So check that, have a look for that video in my files. But for this purpose, we're going to look at how do we start to judge our tenant demand using Spareroom. Now, I was going to share my screen, so give me a second. Let me make sure that I can make this work. All right, and I'm going to hide myself so that you can see the screen really well. Now, hopefully this is working. We'll see. I'm going to turn the sound on too. So I've not done this before, so hopefully this is all working properly. Yeah. So let me pull that up on my screen now, and we're just going to walk through. So this is our Spareroom page. Now, Spareroom is the biggest portal for tenants that are looking for rooms and house shares. It is the biggest portal in the UK. There are other portals, so you can look at Open Rent, you can look at Easy Roommate, you can look at Gumtree, but Spareroom is the biggest portal. So for most cities, most areas, this is the biggest place where people are looking for rooms. So we're just going to use Oxford because this is where I'm most familiar with. Now, one thing to think about before we get started here is I am recording this video. It is late November. November is one of the slowest times in Oxford for room rentals. There are right about the end of September, there's just like a massive cutoff. So everybody's got their room for the 1st of October. We go from like 6, 7 viewings a night down to like 7 viewings a week kind of thing in the jump between September and October. So into November, we're getting even slower. So this is quite a slow time of year to be doing this research. So that's one thing that you need to consider when you're doing your Spareroom research. Is there seasonality in your area? Is there a slowdown? Which most places throughout the kind of winter months, things slow down. People just aren't moving as much. So keep that in mind when you're doing your research. If you're doing your research kind of in the summer months, at least in my area, that tends to be the absolute busiest time. So let me do OX3. So I tend to put like the first part of the postcode in when I'm searching. You could also do just Oxford and search there as well. So it gives me more results. So we'll look at Oxford. Now, Oxford is going to be pretty much anything within the city limit. So let's look at the map here. So this is Oxford. And you can see, Oxford's here. You can see it's pulling up rooms out here in Whitney, up here in Kidlington. So quite a few really outskirts of Oxford. So when you're doing, if you live in London or if you live in Liverpool and you put in the whole city, just be aware it's going to have quite a wide map that it's looking at. So I recommend zooming that in a little bit more and looking at specific postcodes that you want to invest. Now, if you're in a smaller city, this might work just to put the city name in, but if you're in a bigger one, you're probably going to want to put a postcode. So I'll start with OX3. So you can see for Oxford, it had 442 results. If I put who's looking for a room in OX3, we've gone down to 144. Oh, this is rooms available. So 144 rooms available in OX3. So that's quite a big difference. Again, we'll look at the results on the map. And you can see this is just a small part of Oxford. So the map is zoomed in now. If we zoom out, oops, not quite that far, but this is more of what it looked like previously. So actually even more zoomed out than that. So there were rooms over here in Whitney and out here. So we're just really focusing on OX3, which is Headington in Oxford. So there are 144 rooms available in OX3. Then if I just switch the search to rooms wanted and search again, I can see there's 302 people looking for rooms in that area. So 302 compared to 144, that's basically 2 to 1. So there's 2 people looking for every 1 room available. So that's quite a good result, especially this time of year. Now, the other thing to think about when you're looking at people that are wanting rooms is that they may have just put Oxford. So they might be happy, or they could have just put Oxfordshire, and they're happy to live anywhere. So they might not specifically only be looking for OX3, but OX3 is kind of part of their criteria. So maybe they've put OX3, OX4, OX1, and OX22 or something, or maybe they've just put all of Oxford. So what I would recommend here is just having a little bit of a look. So, look at this person. So here's Siobhan. We have a look at her. She's looking in Oxford altogether. So she might not really want to live in OX3, but she's looking in Oxford. So she's completely new. She's starting a job in Wallingford in December. So that kind of, yes. And she says any location near to the Abingdon Road would be good. So the Abingdon Road from, I know this area, is not OX3. So she's not really looking in my area. So then we'd go Australian guy. He's looking for a room. So he's looking, again, just in Oxford. He is looking for a double room to rent in Cowley. So Cowley is not OX3, Cowley's OX4. He's working in the business park. So I know that he's not really interested in OX3 either. Look at this one. So you can see what we're doing. He's just looking in Oxford. He's working in the School of Government. I don't really know where that is. I'm thinking it's probably a bit closer to the city center. OX3 might work for him. So I'd probably look at least the top 5 people. So here we go. He's looking just in Oxford. He wants furnished room with broadband and a washing machine. Great. He's moving to Oxford to start a job. He wants a house share close to the center of Oxford, anywhere near the train station. So OX3 is not for him. So 3 out of the 4 people we've looked at so far are not looking for OX3. And then we'll look at Rebecca here. So she's looking in Oxford. She's looking, yep. So she's pretty much looking anywhere, according to her thing. So 3 out of 5 are not looking in Oxford. Again, you probably want to look at least 10. But if I apply this to my 300 results, 3 out of 5 are not looking. So more than half of the people are not looking for OX3. So that brings this down to under 150. And remember, we had 140 rooms available. So there's almost the same number of people statistically looking for a room in OX3 that there are rooms available. So right now, this time of year, it's almost 1-to-1. Again, that can be okay and things can work as long as your rooms are in really good condition and really marketed and priced properly. You can still get the people. They'll come and have a viewing of your room and they'll take it because your room is awesome. So don't worry too much about that, but it just gives you an idea that maybe my rooms won't fill up quite as quickly as other rooms would. So yeah, it's just worth thinking about, what are my void allowances? What is my initial time frame that I'm looking to, fill all the rooms up? Maybe I was planning to have them all filled in 2 weeks, but because it's the end of November, maybe it's going to have to take me a month to fill all the rooms. So just thinking through things like that when you're doing this research. Now, another kind of surefire way to see if you're getting enough responses, let me see if I can just come back to it just being me. I don't know if that worked very well. So hopefully you were able to see my screen share as we were going along. But one of the other things to do if your results are a bit inconclusive on your Spareroom, so kind of like ours ended up being more like 1-to-1, is to set up some dummy ads. So these are basically just test ads. Now, Spareroom doesn't really like these, so you have to just be careful when you're doing them. Don't do like hundreds of them at a time, and just be aware that Spareroom might find out that it's a dummy ad and they might close your account. So just be aware of that. So if you want to err on the side of being pristine and perfect, dummy ads probably aren't for you. But if you are happy to test your market and just play around a little bit, then try some dummy ads. So again, test ads, and do a nice little write-up of what the house is like, what the room is like, for your kind of ideal property that you're envisioning that you're going to have. Mark it, with the postcode of your kind of ideal area that you're looking in, put it at the price, maybe even a little bit higher than what you want to go for, and make sure you've got really nice pictures included. Pop that ad up there and then wait to see how many responses you get. Now, key things to remember here, you need to pay for that ad, because if you're not paying for that ad, no one will be able to reply to you for 7 days unless that tenant has a Spareroom account, and I'd say most tenants don't get a Spareroom account. So if you want to make sure you're really getting the right responses, make sure you pay for your ad. It's like £7 or £8 for kind of a one-off ad on Spareroom. Now, so once you've paid for the ad, make it live and then see how many replies you get. Now, think about it. You might even want to advertise for a full house to see how many messages you get. Now, I want you to think about on kind of maybe a slower time of year, you're probably looking at 5 viewings to get one person to take your room. In the summer, we're almost 1 or 2 viewings when somebody takes our rooms because things are moving so quickly. So again, judge the time of year, how many you need. If you're going to be filling a full house of maybe 5 bedrooms, you want to have almost 5 viewings per bedroom. So you'd want to get 25 responses. If you're just going to have 1 room available, 2 rooms available, you want to make sure you're getting about 5 responses per bedroom. And that would make me feel comfortable. So in the kind of first week that my ad is live and that I've paid for it, so I know people can respond, I'd want to be looking to get 5 inquiries for each room. So that way I know that I can fill the rooms quite quickly. I'll do 5 viewings. And again, these should be 5 kind of serious inquiries, not just people, because some people just send weird messages and stuff. So make sure you've got 5 people that are like, I'm interested in this room, let's set up a viewing type thing. Or I'm really interested in this room, tell me more about it, and then let's set up a viewing. Now, what do you do because you don't actually have a room available? You can send a message back that says, thank you very much for your interest. Unfortunately, we've just rented out this room. I do plan on having a few more rooms available quite soon. If you want to leave me your email address and your mobile number, I will get in touch with you as soon as we've got another room available. That way you're starting to kind of gather their details as well to put on your marketing list. You've got their permission, so they've happily sent you their details so that you can contact them about future rooms available. And yeah, so then you can start sending out messages. Every time you've got a room available, send out a message to your marketing list, and you'll start to kind of build a little bit of a brand and a name for yourself. So that's what I recommend when you're starting to do the first research on your area of, will it work here or won't it? Again, remember seasonality. Remember to just dig a little bit deeper into what are those people actually looking for. Make sure you're looking, is it the bigger area or are you looking in just a specific smaller area? And if you're doing dummy ads, make sure you pay for them. So hopefully you found that super useful. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you again next week.